All right, so today we're going to be talking about. I take a lot of phone calls, right? And this is one of the things that you probably know if you've been in the group a while, that I offer free phone calls to help WordPress developers figure out how to restructure their business and raise their rates. And I'm a little bit out of breath. I was just running and trying to make it here on time, so I'm a little bit later than normal and also a little bit out of breath. But so what are we gonna? So what we're talking about today is what can you do if you want to raise your rates? And most of the WordPress developers I talk to, they could absolutely charge triple what they're currently charging, and so then the question becomes, how do you do it? Because you can't just raise your prices, because if you just raise your prices, you lose your clients. And or what if you already have a relationship with a client where you're currently charging like a low hourly rate, and you want to renegotiate that? Like, how do you do that? Like, you have to have this big thing where you like renegotiate your rates, or is there a different or better way that you can do it? And so here's a question. So one of the things that is kind of, how much does like a VA cost, for example? Like, if you wanted to work with a virtual assistant, and what would you expect to pay for that sort of a service? And what if the virtual assistant could do some stuff online too? Like, what if that person could, answer emails, or, update your website and things like that? You wouldn't really expect to pay a really high rate for a virtual assistant. And so, as you may know, if you've ever tried to work with one, you can get a pretty good virtual assistant for like $15 an hour. And so one of the questions then becomes, if that's you, if you're kind of in that sort of position, what would you do if you wanted to start charging $45 an hour or $75 an hour if you've been traditionally charging like 15 or 20 bucks? And I think this is a really important question to really dive into, because most WordPress developers, they are charging, and they're making somewhere between $10 and $30 per hour. So like, if you look at all the stats, like I looked at Upwork and a whole list of different places where I put, WP Dev and Stack Overflow, and there's various other sources where I could gather up all the information to figure out, well, what is the average hourly rate for someone who does, WordPress work, especially in the realm of people that do like WordPress freelancing and consulting, not like if you have a job at a large agency on a salary. Like if you're self-employed, you're doing WordPress consulting, what's the average hourly rate? And it turns out it's about 10 to 20, maybe $30 an hour, somewhere in that range. And so the question then becomes, why? Why is that the case? And what can you do if you want to break out of that into something higher? Because if you're doing that kind of work and you suddenly say, okay, well, now my rate used to be 20, now it's 60, you're going to have to explain that to your client, and it's going to be an awkward conversation to have. But here's the thing: most of the actual things that you do are the same as what somebody would do if they were charging, triple what they're currently charging. The actual tasks, the actual things that you do are like the same things for the most part. Like, most of the people that I talk to, they know how to build a WordPress site. Most of the people know how to put an email form or an opt-in list on the site. Most of the people know how to do these types of things. But what they're lacking is the leadership. They're lacking they're on the wrong side of the table, so to speak. So for example, you show up at a meeting and you wait for your client to give you an assignment. So like, if you're a virtual assistant, like we were just talking about, you wait for the person who's hired you to give you a list of tasks, to give you a to-do list. Or if you're not a virtual assistant, but you're just maybe you have one of these contracts with your client where they pay you, so like they pre-purchase 5 hours a month or 10 hours per month of your time, but there's no real package there. It's just, they just bought your time, right? They just, maybe you gave them a reduced hourly rate, which of course furthers the problem of having low hourly rates, but maybe you give them a reduced hourly rate in exchange for them pre-purchasing a segment of your time, like 5-10 hours per month. Well, what do you do with those 5 to 10 hours? Well, most people don't do anything. Most of the people I talk to sit around waiting for their client to come and tell them what to do during those hours. And oftentimes it results in nothing. Like, the client hasn't really thought of anything. They're busy running their business, doing their things, and they aren't really thinking about what they want you to do. And so the other side of the coin is, what if you sell these prepackaged hours, or you try to sell the prepackaged hours like at the end of a project, like you're launching the website, and you're kind of transitioning into this this new type of relationship where you're not actively developing the actual website anymore. Now you're launching it and deploying it to maintain it. And so you start this conversation where you try to get people on a maintenance plan. And so you begin to say, well, got to do these plugin updates. We got to secure everything and whatever. And the client, and so then you say, well, would you like to buy like 5 to 10 hours per month of my time to do this kind of maintenance work for you? And the client almost always says no, because they think, well, I don't need anything right now. I don't have anything in mind for what to do in the future. But when something comes up, you have done a great job. I really like working with you. As soon as I need a new thing, like if I decide to run a Facebook ad campaign, or if I need a landing page, or whatever it might be, whenever that comes up, you get the job. You're the one for the job. And so then you're sort of happy. You would have been happier if you had gotten on this maintenance plan, because now you've got recurring revenue, which stabilizes and de-stresses your business. But that just wasn't in the cards. So instead, now you're at least happy because your client's happy with your work, and the next time they have a need that comes up, they'll hire you to do that thing. Well, of course, that's not bad, but it's not a high value offer. Wouldn't it be better if you were actively pursuing the kinds of things that you would wish that your client would come up with? So rather than sitting on the other side of the table waiting for your client to say, hey, you know what? I think we need a landing page for this. Or you know what else? We probably got to send a newsletter, or we probably got to talk to our clients from time to time, or whatever it might be. Rather than waiting for your client to come up with those kinds of concepts to then hand down tasks to you, why not come up with the concepts yourself and offer them to your client and say, here's what I think that you ought to do. And so that's one of the big shifts that I really try to underscore with regard to WordPress freelancing in today's economy. Because it used to be fine to sit around and wait for things to happen, because that kind of work was just there was a lot more work like that to be done. But now, if that's you, then the rates are just so low for that kind of work, because anyone can do it. You can literally go onto Upwork or Fiverr or somewhere like that and get WordPress stuff on call. And anytime a thought comes to your mind and you want to do whatever it is, set up a new contact form or whatever you want to get done on your website, you can just go on there, and for $50 or whatever, you can get it done. And so that's why WordPress freelancers aren't getting those kinds of jobs anymore. That's why they're not getting the retainers. That's the whole economy has shifted, where if the client is going to be responsible for thinking of the things to do, then the actual labor of getting those things done is ridiculously inexpensive. And so much so that you can't even stay in business as a freelancer in the United States if that's the kind of work that you're trying to do. Now, that's not to say that's all the work that's out there. I know there's people even in this group that have, like one client that pretty much takes care of their whole salary. And, those kinds of jobs are there. But what I'm saying is it's increasingly difficult to find that kind of work. And the people that do have those kinds of relationships in place right now, usually they established those relationships a couple of years ago. And they've just kind of maintained it throughout the past few years, as opposed to people who have just started that kind of a relationship. And so what I'm saying is, while those kinds of jobs are there, it's increasingly difficult to find them. And if you're trying to pursue delivering these kinds of technical tasks, like when the client says, I need to do X, and then you provide that solution, it's hard to do that. It's a really challenging thing to bring value to your client with that sort of thing. And therefore, they don't pay you very much to do it. And almost anybody can do that kind of work. And now, one of the things that makes WordPress so awesome today is it's so much more powerful now than it has ever been before. Meaning that there's there's way more plugins than there ever have been before, and the plugins that are there are they're tried and they're tested, and they can they're more stable, they have more features. You can really deliver unbelievable business outcomes for your clients with the plugins that are there. So you don't have to make new plugins. You oftentimes don't have to develop themes from scratch, and because the themes that are out there are really good. We have a whole library of themes that are awesome now that weren't there before. Hosting, it used to be, okay, spin up a website on a cheap server somewhere for $5 a month or whatever, and your site gets hacked, it's slow, it's unreliable. Where all of those issues are resolved now. There's awesome places to host WordPress sites where you don't have to worry about backups and staging environments, and that comes with all the security just baked in, so you don't have to have millions of plugins handling all those things. So all of the things that used to be problems in the WordPress, specifically within WordPress, are either solved or just dramatically better now, both in terms of the platform itself, like the security, the hosting, and all that stuff, but also in terms of the stuff that it can do for your clients, like the kinds of outcomes. Like you can get e-commerce involved without much trouble. You can get, all kinds of things can happen with regard to like connecting e-commerce with email marketing and social media, and all of those things can be intertwined in a way that could never have been done before. And you don't have to be a coding genius or guru. You don't really have to write a lot of code at all. Now, it's good to know a little bit, especially front-end code, so that you don't have to be completely reliant on page builders and stuff like that. But the overall point is you can do all of these kinds of things and generate these sorts of outcomes for your clients in a way that's so much more powerful now than ever before, which makes today, like right now, the best time to be a WordPress consultant, to be someone who does freelancing work for your clients, and you power all of that with WordPress, with the WordPress ecosystem. And there's no other platform that can do it, because like even like you can take these same kinds of principles and apply it to like if you wanted to build Wix websites or help people with Squarespace sites or whatever. But those platforms, they don't even hold a candle to what you can do with WordPress, which is why I'm so excited about what we have as an opportunity as WordPress freelancers today. But most WordPress developers are not experiencing this benefit because they're still stuck in yesterday's concept of what it means to be a freelancer, meaning, hey, if somebody's looking for WordPress work, I can do it. Well, by the time the business that you're trying to work with, by the time they realize that they're looking for WordPress work, it's too late at that point, because they're going to be going to Fiverr, or they're going to be going to Upwork, or they're going to get a VA, and the rates are going to be pushed down. What you want to be doing is you want to be working with businesses that don't really know or care about the technology. They want the outcomes. And so if you shift the way that you position your business into something that provides business solutions for the people that you want to be working with, that fundamentally changes everything. And now all of a sudden you have the ability to charge like high value rates for setting up their online platform, their website and all the tools that go into it. And you have the ability to set up these monthly retainers that, that are awesome. It goes far beyond what you can do with like WordPress hosting and with maintenance plans and plugin updates. Nobody's going to buy WordPress maintenance plugin updates and security patches for anything more than like $50 a month. And so wouldn't it be better if you could get $500 or $800 or $1,000 per month for doing the kinds of things that you can do to actually lead your clients into the success that they're looking for? And if you're leading your clients into the success that they're looking for, you're also going to be getting the success that you are looking for. And so that's like a really big fundamental WordPress freelancing 3.0 kind of difference. And so that's really what I'm trying to encourage people to do. That's what the whole DoubleStack program is all about. It's about two things. In fact, I was just kind of in a conversation earlier today on one of my Facebook posts where somebody actually commented on, WordPress is the bottom of the barrel and the rates are so low and, it's always just a mess, because there's all these courses out there that teach everybody how to be like a digital agency. Anybody can be their own digital agency. And here's what you do. You take this course, and then Shazam, now you're awesome. And what's happening with those courses is those courses are churning out people that don't know what they're doing. They're in over their heads. They don't, it's an incomplete kind of a thing. And oftentimes all it does is it gives you a few more skills that you can add to your online resume. And it doesn't do anything at all for teaching you how to shift out of, hey, I can offer these WordPress skills. Hey, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. So if you're looking for this kind of skill, I'm the guy for you. I can do those things. You need to shift out of that kind of work and into, hey, let me help you with your business. So what are the goals that you're shooting for? What are the kinds of outcomes that you're looking for your business? And then in your head, you know that you've got this awesome toolbox of things that can generate those kinds of outcomes. And so that's really the big shift. So, oh, look, some people are waving hello. Got the notes way down here in the corner. So it's Stephen and Morel. Awesome. It's good to see you guys. And if you're here, if you're watching, go ahead and give a wave or a high five. And just let me know that you're here. It's really really helpful to know who's showing up. So, but back to what I was saying about this whole thing. It's like we have so much more ability to do such awesome things now, and it used to be the case that building up your WordPress skills was enough. And that's why these courses, they may have been effective before. Like other people that run these courses and they take your money and they give you some skill sets. Maybe they teach you how to do SEO better, or maybe they teach you how to do CSS better, or whatever it might be. But now the guy that was posting on my comments, this other Facebook post, he was saying, he gets all of his jobs from, all these half-baked, broken WordPress sites that are, that the clients are saying, hey, I've got this site, I can't do what I want. I had this developer who's way in over their heads. They don't know what's going on. And can you help me out? And so he's kind of happy about all of these other courses that basically give clients bad sites, because he can then step in and be the hero and fix the whole thing. And so I then commented and replied and said, I'm equally as frustrated with those courses, because it doesn't help. It's you take people's money and then you don't actually deliver the outcomes. In fact, I was even in a group not long ago where people were talking about this kind of a thing. And one of the guys, whose name I won't mention, who actually runs one of these courses, he actually said, with his actual words, he's like, you don't need to worry about whether or not the people that take your course actually get the results. Now I'm paraphrasing, but he says, you don't have to worry about whether the people get the results. What you want to do is you want to offer a course that sounds interesting, that sounds enticing, and then, people just buy your course, and then, then you move on. And so I was sitting there like vomiting in my mouth over that, because I'm basing my entire business on the opposite of that, which is, everyone that I work with, I am 100% committed to making sure that I'm doing everything I can to help them get the results that they're looking for, not just for themselves, but also for their clients. And the way I do it, I've made sure that there's two actual areas of focus on the system. One is, can you actually generate, on a technical level, a secure, stable WordPress site that's not bloated, that's hosted well, that's secure, doesn't have licenses for plugins expiring all the time? How can you keep things slim? Because how many times have you ever taken on a project from somebody and you look at the website or whatever, and it's WordPress, and it's packed with 50 plugins. In fact, I was not too long, maybe 6 months ago or something, I was somebody called me up and said, can you look at my site? And I log in, and it was running this theme called the Monster theme, and it's a very popular theme, and it literally requires 30 plus plugins just to install the theme. Even if you're not using the it was unbelievably complex. And what had happened was, this lady had hired somebody that sort of knew what they were doing, maybe had taken one of these half-baked courses, and they had put together this monster theme. Everything was going pretty well for a couple of weeks, and then the site vomited on them, and they don't know what happened, but somehow through one of the page builders or whatever it was that they did, it all got just corrupt, and it looked like the site just went right through a blender, and nobody could fix it. It was like Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, and nobody could put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And so they called me up and says, can you help me figure this thing out? And so I said, hey, you know what? The way to figure this thing out is not to use this monster theme. Why don't you actually work with a developer who knows what's going on and can actually have this nice, slim, clean, responsive site? And so, so all of that is to say that a lot of these courses take this half-baked approach, and that's fundamentally the opposite to what we're doing here in DoubleStack, because we have the tech stack to make sure that you don't have one of those half-baked websites, and then we also have the business development stack. There's two areas of focus, thus the name DoubleStack. And the business side is, okay, well, now that you have these tools, now that you can build and deploy and maintain and have a staging environment and backups and the tools that generate business outcomes like e-commerce or email marketing or social media, all of those different things, drip campaigns, sales funnels, now that you have the skills to do that stuff, then let's put together some business strategies. So out of the toolbox of things that you can do, let's package up some of those things into services that matter for the types of clients that you want to work with. And then not only that, but now you can actually take those same set of skills and apply them to your business and your client's business as well. So, what matters, what kind of clients do you want to attract? What kind of people do you want to be working with? How do you write about that on your own website? How do you communicate that, right? And once you unlock that kind of key, that kind of secret to that success, you can apply those exact same principles to your clients as well. What kind of clients do your clients want to attract? And so that's the business development stack. So you have the tech stack, you have the business development stack, and I personally work with everyone in the course to make sure that they're getting the results that they're looking for in both areas. So it's not one of these things where you sign up for an online course and I don't care whether or not you ever show up. It's the opposite of that. In fact, every week we have calls to make sure that you're on track, doing the things that are going to be getting you to where you need to be. And if you're not showing up on the calls, then I email you and I'm like, why aren't you showing up on the calls? What's the problem? In fact, I actually just got a text from a guy. We do the calls on Thursday at 4 o'clock. He said, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to be able to make the call, but I'm going to call in on the phone. So I was like, awesome, that's great. Staying in touch with the people that are in the course to make sure that we know each other, we're working together. It's a good thing. It's the kind of thing where I don't know, like if we didn't have this program, I don't know where I would recommend anyone else would go to get this kind of a training. So, for example, the reason I started the program was people would come up to me after I gave WordCamp talks, and they'd say, man, I really like what you're talking about. I want to get into this high-value WordPress freelancing, but I don't know how to do it. Can you recommend a program? Can you recommend a place where I can get this kind of training? And so I looked all over the place to try to find somewhere to do this, and no such place existed. And so I said I could find places that could teach you how to, host a website better or do, certain informational things, but nothing was offering the transformation to actually pull you out of that low value $20 an hour, freelancing kind of virtual assistant mode and into the kind of mode where you're actually, you're leading your clients and you're doing it with integrity, like you're offering things to them that actually make a difference for their business, not just because you're going to get a paycheck out of it. Now, of course you do. In fact, the irony is that you make way more money doing it that way than you do when you just try to force stuff on people because you know how to do it. And so anyway, all that is to say, I couldn't find any other course or any other program to send people to. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to put it together. I spent the last 7 months putting this course together. And over the past 2 months, I've been enrolling some students, and it's been a really good thing. So if this is the kind of thing that you're looking for, you want somebody to help you both with the tech stack and the business development stack, and you want to shift out of that low value, low hourly rate and actually, double or triple your rates, and you want to do it in a way that's fun and easy and not high pressure with your clients. Like nobody wants high pressure sales and stuff. So wouldn't it be better if you had a way to approach your clients, and even if they're clients you already work with, even if you already work with them at a low hourly rate, what if we come up with some packages that you can offer those clients that that break you free from dollars for hours? There's no hourly rate really associated with it. It's like a business development package, and they subscribe to the package, not your hours. So if that's the kind of a thing that you want to do, and you can suddenly bump your hourly rate, for doing those kinds of things. Now, keep in mind, they're subscribing to the package, but in terms of how much money you make per hour working, if you want to bump that up to like $50, $60, $75, $85 an hour instead of the 10 or the 20 or the 30 that everybody's currently doing, let's talk about that. So that's why I offer these free 45-minute phone calls. So if you want to do one of these calls, it's at doublestack.net/call. And I'm giving it away for free. We talk about your market. We talk about your prices, the kind of clients you want to look for, the kind of work you've been doing, what you like doing, what you don't like doing. If you feel stuck in a particular area, maybe it's your marketing. Maybe it's, maybe you don't know what to put on your own website. Maybe you feel like your clients aren't responding to your proposals. There's all kinds of issues that we can go over. And I've been doing this. I've been running a web agency for 16 years. I've been deeply involved in the WordPress community for 10. And especially through Cart66, our e-commerce platform, I've had the opportunity and the privilege to talk to a lot of people about these kinds of things. And if that's the kind of stuff you want to talk to me about and try to get some insight into how to ramp your business up to the point where you're making an awesome living and you're getting high value results for yourself and for your clients, then head over to doublestack.net/call and we'll get on the phone and we'll talk about it for 45 minutes. And it's totally free. We'll go through all the stuff I was just describing. And if you want to work with me and I'll help you implement these things into your business, then great. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But the point is, if you find yourself just stuck and struggling and really wanting to figure out how you can shift into this new era of WordPress freelancing where the opportunity is just unbounded, or you're feeling burnt out and stuck and just frustrated by not being able to get people to respond to your proposals, and so you lower your rates, and then you feel like you're the one getting ripped off. Everybody's getting a good deal, but you. If you're kind of feeling frustrated, caught in that cycle, well, let's get on the phone and break you out of that, so that you can have some new ideas and some new concepts that you can start applying to your business right away. So if that sounds good to you, head over to doublestack.net /call, and we'll do one of these calls. It's like 45 minutes. It's in depth. Right after you pick one of the times that works for you, then you're going to see a form with a couple of questions, like give me a link to your website, and there's a little bit of background information about your business and so forth. And that way, when we get on the phone, I'll be ready to go. I'll be prepared. It'll be awesome, and it'll be a lot of fun. So I think either way, I think you're going to get a lot of value out of it, and I'm certainly going to enjoy getting to know you and meeting you. And we'll talk about how you could possibly triple your rates really quickly. So awesome, guys. So that's pretty much all I've got to say for today. And I guess it's going to be a holiday weekend, so happy Labor Day weekend to everybody. And we'll catch up again next week, unless we talk before then. But I think all of my appointments are booked all the way through the weekend. So if you do go today, like if you hop over there right now, you're going to probably find that it's pretty full, and you might have to wait till like Tuesday or Wednesday. I mean, these calls go really, really quick. So if this is the kind of thing that you want to do and you're serious about it, head over there and pick a time while the times are still available. I've actually had to extend the amount of times that I'm available twice already, and I think I'm pretty much at my limit at this point. So hey everybody, it's great to see you guys. Hello. And so anyway, all that is to say that if this is the kind of thing you want to do, if you're serious about your business, you're serious about wanting to raise these rates, then let's get on the phone and let's talk about it. So I really look forward to doing that, and I'm very excited about all of the potential that's going forward here. So awesome. So great job, guys. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put it here in the comments. And thank you guys so much for saying hello. It's great to talk to you guys. And if there's anything that I can do to help, or if there's a topic that you want me to address in one of these free training sessions that we do here on Facebook, put that in the comments too and let me know. And whatever I can do to help you is what I'm here to do. So it's great to see you guys. Have a safe and awesome weekend, and we'll touch base again next Tuesday. High five to everybody. All right, guys, take care.